I'm starting the session. Voice is audible to everyone. Yesterday practical again I shown you the link again was available. Once you get the video, you can see it. Otherwise, after the session, you just stay. I'll show you once again. Okay? After the session today, I'll show you. So let us go to the today's session. So, can we start with the session? Yes. Good morning once again, everyone. It's a request. Please keep your mic in your position only, and we'll proceed with today's session. Okay. So before that, uh, just I'll recap what we have discussed yesterday. So you remember what we discussed yesterday? Session was related with group policy part 2. So there we discussed what? Yes, we discussed what? How to deploy the software as per the department-wise requirement. We deploy the application using what? Three methods we have, like published, assigned, and advanced. So I told you what is the difference when we use the published and when we use the assigned. And software is used for what? For updating the existing application. Then we also discuss how to deploy our script. Then I shown you the folder redirection. And finally, I shown you group policy can be implemented with condition. So when that particular condition is fulfilled, then only that policy will be applied. Okay, that is with the group policy. Now, related with today's session, we'll proceed with what today's session, the fourth class of the Active Directory. So today our session is about fourth class of the Active Directory. Okay, so it's very important concept. All the concepts are important, but we are focusing more. Like I told you, the main focus of our this entire course is on Active Directory. So we have discussed how many classes till now for the Active Directory. Three classes are already completed. One is what? Where we discuss how to create the DC. Second class we discuss the structure of the operating system. So in that we discuss physical structure, logical. Physical structure means the DC and the place where they have kept. Logical means what? We discussed. Consists of what? Domain, tree, and forest. Then we discuss the third class what? What is the difference between the DC and ADC in terms of the roles? So that is about the three sessions of the Active Directory. Now coming to the fourth class, today we'll discuss the fourth class of the Active Directory. So before I start with the session, let us try to understand the importance of today's session. Okay. Let me just revise the three sessions what we have with the Active Directory. So first we discussed how to create a domain. So I will not go into the detail because you already know. Suppose this is my domain. Domain will have what? Important machine. DC, how to configure this, we discussed so many times. Then this will be connected via switch. Then we have number of clients, and we can also have a machine called member server depending upon the OS. But this we can use like a net domain will never be completed without ADC in the real time. So this is our domain. But if you need the expansion of your network, if suppose your business is expanded beyond your cycle, which you can maintain or manage with one domain, then you can go for what? Subdomain, which are called here child domain. So we discussed manage in a better way large network, the child domain or the subdomain. So we discuss one example, like this is my child domain. So this is one child domain. So in this also most important machine is DC. Then we will have a switch. Then we have the client as well as member server. One more machine ADC. So this is another setup we have. If you want, you can have more child like this. So we assume this as a what MCITP previously, then MCSE dot zoom.com. This is another child. So this also consists of what? The DC. So network will be created with the switch. Then we will have clients as well as member server. That member server we can use like a PD. So till now we have discussed. This is what called as what? One tree. So it is one type of tree with a contiguous name. We can also have another tree without contiguous name. So I can have entirely different name here, like I used. There is no parent domain name, but still it is a part of what? The parent domain called zoom.com. Like this, I can have here also same thing. One DC will be there, switch will be there. Then I can have the ADC. Beside this, I can have one more domain, child domain. See, this domain should be with same network or without same network. It can be. If it is different network, you need to use router. If it is no router is there, then you need to use same IP. Now, I may have this as a what? This is my another domain. Yes. Now let us assume this is also what? One tree without contiguous name. So this collection of trees called as what? Domain. So this is our domain. So our domain name is what? Zoom.com. And this name is what? CCNA.com. So these are the tree with contiguous name, without contiguous. Our question is what? Suppose some user is created here. Let's suppose here U1 is created. Here M1 is created. Here suppose C1 is created. Here let's suppose N1 is created. Here P1 is created. Here suppose E1 is created. Some users domain. Now my question is, can uh, C1 user C1 user can log in here? Yes or no? Here C1 user can log in. Yes or no? Yes. How to log in? C1 at the rate where it is created, MCITP dot MCSE dot zoom.com. We have to give the domain name. But my question is now, can the U1 is login from here? Another tree. So can the U1 login from here? Yes or no? Yes or no? It is another tree, but it is belong to same forest. Yes, it can log in. So where it is created, that way you have to log in. So any user can log in from any domain because it is all part of what a forest call. This is your forest name. Forest name will be what? Zoom.com. First domain which you have created will be the forest. So you can have number of trees in the forest. So this is called what? Forest. Collection of trees. So within the forest, any user can log in from the any domain, but only one condition is there. When the user is created in one domain and the user is logging from other domain, you need to write full name of the user, like username at the rate in which domain that user is created, that you have to write. So now any user can log in from any domain because it belongs to the same forest. So for that, anything we have to do as an administrator? No, default they will log in because it belongs to same family or same forest. It is clear to everyone. So this is our today's concept. The next thing is what? Now I have two different forests. Now one my forest is what? This is my one forest, like forest name. This is my forest. So now I'm not going to expand more because you know in the forest what will be there. So for simplicity, I'm taking what? One domain. Like this, I can have child domain like this. Anything. So this is my main domain. So this is my main machine, DC. In this, I have, so suppose one user called U1. Now I have another domain. So let's assume this is another domain, right? This domain belong to another forest. Let's say suppose this is called hdfc.com. So these are two different forests, you remember. This is one forest, this is another forest. Now here, important thing is again here also they are maintaining one DC. Now here the user is H1. Now here I have some machines within my domain. This is my user, this is my user. So this is what I have so many machines here. So here also switch will be there. Then here, uh, any user can log in from here within the domain. Now my question is, can the U1 log in from here, and can the H1 log in from here? That is my doubt. I'm writing H1 created from where? At the hdfc.com. I given the name, and here U1 at the rate zoom.com. Tell me whether they can log in or not. Within their domain, they can log in, but here they can log in or not. So I'm getting most of the answers as what? No. Ah, now, if you create a site, now somebody return the answer. If you create a site, it can log in. Now I'm creating a site. So now I created one site with the name called here. So suppose this was there in uh, India. Let's suppose this is created somewhere in, so suppose UK. So now I created two sites with the name India and UK. Two sites are created. Now will they log in after creating the sites? Because somebody wrote here site has to be created. Now I got one answer yes, one answer no. Still one answer is no. I'll go to the answer, but I'm just asking you so that you can remember. Sites should be in same site. No, no. Site, so they can be in different location. So there are two different sites. Okay. They share, and they users can log in from one site to another. It depends. So in this case, you tell me. I'm getting the answer no. From other person also no. So remember, this is the correct answer. Yes, it cannot log in. So when we have two different sites, like say suppose I have one site in Hyderabad, one side is in Bangalore, I can have a communication. They are in India, they'll communicate. I can have one side in India, one side in US also. Still they can communicate. But but that has to be a part of same forest. But here we are talking about two different forests. So two different forests means if you create the site also, they will never communicate with each other. And then if two different site, if you create a site also, sorry, if there are two different forests, if you create a site also, they cannot log in. Then I want this user to log in here and this user to. Is there any option? Can they log in? Yes. But what is the option? What we need to create as admin? That is our two answer. So I hope you understood what is happening here. They cannot communicate because these are the users of not same forest. They are belonging to two different forests. So if you create a site, they don't communicate. If you create a site for two different location at two different places, it can communicate, but condition is there, provided they belong to the same forest. Here also I have the internet connectivity. The communication might be there, but still they cannot log in the users. Why? That is what our today's session. Anybody knows any answer, anything about this? Why it is not working? Why one user cannot access the resources of other? So can I have any answers, please? So just make a guess. Yes, that is the answer. Very nice. I don't know how you got that term, but that is the answer. Different organization means different forest. And when there is a different forest, by default, trust is not there. When I go to the previous example, why the users are logged in here? I'll just give me a second. I'll go to the last our previous slide. So why the users are logged in here? Why they are allowing within the same forest? Because the trust is there by default between the domain. We don't create it. By default, trust will be there within the forest. So like if you talk about your family, will you trust your brother or will your brother trust you? Or you trust your parent? Whether your parent trusts you, by default they trust you or not? Yes. Same logic here. So one forest means what? It is something like one family. So that doesn't require any trust because each domain trust each other because they belong to same forest. So that's why we don't have to create anything. By default, trust is there. But if you come to the next example, like here, there are two different trusts. So by default, sorry, I repeat, this is two different forests. So by default, they don't trust each other. So that's why one user cannot log in into the other to access their services because there is no trust. You may have the connectivity, the communication may be there, but they still cannot access each other resources because there is no trust. So to make it simple, suppose I'm just standing on the road, somebody unknown person came to me and he asked my suppose my bike. I'm just standing with my bike. Somebody came and asked me, innocent person. Sorry, not innocent. It should be what? Unknown person. A stranger, a guest, somebody whom I don't know and whom I never met. Then he asked me, you just give me a bike for half an hour, I'll come and give you back. Will I trust him? Suppose same scenario. Standing some known person, my cousin or somebody came to me. He said, there is some work. I'll give me your bike. I'll come with. In that scenario, what happens? Will I give him or I'll not give him? So why? Because I trust him. Trust means what? I have faith. I have belief in. I know him. So I trust him automatically. So once I trust means what? I have a faith. I have belief in him. So that's what. So within the same forest, user from any domain can log into any domain. So they can able to log in. But here, these are two different stranger, means two different forests, means they are stranger to each other. They cannot allow their resources to be accessed by others. even if the connectivity is there. So, but I want this H1 to access the resources of Zoom, and same time the U1 should access the resources of HDFC. Can it? I want resources to be accessed. Is it possible? Yes or no? Is it possible? Is it possible or it is not possible? I repeat my question. Now I want the resources of Zoom domain should be accessed by H1 user. At the same time, U1 user of the Zoom domain should access the resources of hdfc.com forest. So, but it can be possible or it never possible. Yes, it can be possible. How it is possible? How it will be possible? What we need to do as an administrator? What? Yes, that is the answer. That is the answer. We need to trust between two different forests. Then they will allow each other resources. So our today's session is what? Active Directory fourth class. In that we are going to focus how to create or configure the trust between two different forests. So once I create or configure the first trust, then one domain user can access the other domain resources. So now tell me, in the real time, whether one forest domain, as a normal person, I'm using other real time. I'm not a working in any company. I'm just a normal layman. Can I tell one example where I can feel the usage of this trust concept? Whether we are coming across this trust concept in our day-to-day routine life, which is benefiting us. Yes, I don't know how you are getting this answer, but that is the exact answer I was. Now you talk about ATM. Yes, you talk about 5 years or 10 years back, maybe 10 years back. I'm supposed having the account in SBI, so I can withdraw my money only from the SBI bank ATM. Yes, but do the condition now is there? Such condition is there. Now I'm having money in my account. I'm having the ATM card from the SBI, but there is suppose there is one ATM center which is of the HDFC. Can I use that, withdraw that money? Yes or no? So suppose in my account I have 2000 rupees. Now I'm trying to withdraw from HDFC 3000. From here. Will it allow me 3000? My account is having 2000, but I'm trying to withdraw 3000. Then how the HDFC knows my account? By default, in the background, what is happening? My account, my money will be withdrawn from the SBI where I have the account, and the HDFC will check whether I have the enough amount of that what I'm trying to do is not. So it will be checked. So how it is possible? Because now the banks is having not authentication, the trust is there. So now each one server is allowing the other servers. So that's benefiting the user. Now as a user, end user, I can use any ATM center to withdraw. If I have card from one bank, I can withdraw the money from other ATM center. How it is possible? Because the banks are establishing the trust between each other for their business purpose. Security will be there, but at the same time, it is benefiting the banks as well as the customer. Did you understand the concept? So in the real time, inter forest trust is been established so that one user can access the resources of other. So it ultimately benefits whom? The end user, the customer. The best example is what? ATM. Yes. So today we are going to focus on what? We'll create two different forests, and between two different forests, we will create trust. Then we will log in from one trust to another trust. This is what our total session is about today. So I hope you understood the importance of this session. Is it important? we'll see how to do it. So our today's session, the topic name is what? What is our today's topic name? Can anybody write the topic name? Yes, trust. So now let us try to discuss this trust. So trust means what? Belief, faith. So for ensuring the secure communication, not communication, but security should be there. Secure communication, the path from one domain to the other with the security so that it will be authenticated and accepted and in other domain. We need what? The trust. Creating the trust, it ensures the communication between two different domains belonging to different forests with authentication. Before that, we need to create the trust. So once you create a trust, the authentication will be process will be running and the authentication will be accepted. So now till now we are talking about like just to make it simple, I'm just giving normal example. Suppose now I can move from my house to my cousin house or my relative house because a trust is there. But can I go to anybody unknown person house or can anybody unknown person come to my house? It's not possible. It's not possible. So trust has to be there. So now to forest means what? Simple example. Uh, not, suppose imagine I'm not married. Now can I go to a house? I know the house, but they don't know me. I cannot. Now I want to go to the same house, get married. Then assume that it is from that home. Yes. Why? I didn't do anything. Just I got married. So now here marriage means what? It's something like a trust. Now they allow me. Yes. So same thing. If you want to forest to get communication, then we need to create what? The trust. So this is what we are going to discuss in today's session. Okay. So in some cases, the trust will be created automatically. Like I told you the example, parent-child are between two different trees of same forest. This trust will be created. But my requirement is what? Like from one family to the another family. So this is not related with me. So they are a different family. So how the trust will be established? Once some relation is created. Like I said, in our Indian culture, that is what the marriage. So once the marriage is done, so automatically the trust will be created. So that's what here. So some trust will be there by default, like our own family, means our grandparent or our cousin uncle, like this. Those are called what? Within the same forest. But if you want a link with other family, means some trust has to be there. So that we will be creating manually today. So there are two types of trust. That will be one type will be that will be there automatically created, and the other one we have who only the administrator. So we'll be focusing today on what? The automatic trust or manual trust. Which we want to create. Already we've done with what? In the second class forest. Automatically trust because it belongs to same forest. Today we are going to focus on what? How to create a manual trust. So you can see the last point, the fourth point, forest to forest transfer to trust is been established from the Windows operating system server 2003. They used to use the trust that we will discuss as we proceed into the session. Now we are using mostly between forest to forest with trust. This has been introduced from which year? 2003. Same is continuing from 8 also, 12 also, 16 also. Okay. So those who want, please take a snapshot of this. Then I'll go to the next slide. Can I go to the next one? Or shall I wait? going to the next slide. Create this trust, we should know about the trust relationship. So in the trust relationship, we have three things: trust categories, trust direction, trust type. Out of which one is most important for us? Trust type. So there are two types of trust categories. What are they? Transitive and non-transitive trust. What is transitive and what is non-transitive? We'll discuss in depth. First, you try to understand. In the trust relationship, how many things we have to discuss? I'll repeat once again. Now, my voice is okay? Is okay now? Okay. I'll repeat once again. So, for creating the trust, we should know about the trust relationship. And the trust relationship, we need to know about three things, 3 points important. First, we should know what is about the trust categories, trust direction, and trust types. So these are the prerequisite conditions for creating the trust. So first we will discuss trust categories. So how many we have? How many types of trust category we have? Two types. What are they called? Transitive trust and non-transitive trust. So just wait. We'll discuss in deep what is meant by transitive trust and what is meant non-transitive trust. First, understand what categories. So how many categories are there in the trust means what you will say? Two types. What are they? Transitive and non-transitive. Explanation we'll see later. Then same way, how many trust directions are there? Three types. What are they? Incoming, outgoing, two-way. Two-way means what? Only incoming, only outgoing, or two-way means it will have both incoming as well as outgoing. So how many categories are there? Two. How many directions are there? Three. Then how much trust we can create as an administrator, or how many types of trust are there for an administrator as an option to create the trust? So how many types of trust we have? Total 5 types of trust are there. What are they? Default, which we don't have to create. It will be created automatically, like within the force. Second type of trust is what? Shortcut. We'll discuss what is that. Then external, forest, and realm. So how many types of we have? 5 types of trust. What are they? Default, shortcut, external, forest, and realm. So these are the 5 types of trust I have. Now, first we will concentrate on what? Trust categories. I think direction everybody knows. Then we'll go finally to what? Trust type. So once you understand these three things, means you will be ready to configure idea which type of trust uh, will be our requirement and which one we will configure depending upon the scenario. So with this concept, you will be in a position to configure the trust. After this, we will do the practical. Okay. So let me go to the first point. Shall I wait, or it's you have taken the snapshot of this? Okay, I'll wait. I'll wait. Take a snapshot of this. So I repeat, how many types of categories are there? Two types. What are they? Transitive and non-transitive. How many types of directions we have? Three types. One way outgoing. Two-way means both incoming and outgoing. And how many type of trust we have? Total 5 types. What are they? Default, shortcut, external, forest, and realm. What is the difference? We'll see one by one. So first we will concentrate on what? Trust categories. Now, can I start with the trust category? So now we'll proceed with first, which one? Trust category. So the trust category. How many types of trust categories are there? Two. Transitive trust. So what do you mean by transitive trust? You can understand here. I have say suppose multiple domain. In example here, how many domain they have given? 3. So in this category, if domain A trusts the B and B trusts the C, then automatically what happens? C will trust the A. So this type of trust is called transitive trust. Means what do you understand by this? If one domain trusts the other domain is trusting the other, then automatically the other domain will trust the another one. So this type of trust is called as what? Transitive trust, where all the domains are trusting everybody, like within your family. I'm not talking about your cousin, uncle, or your own. In your own family, whether you trust your mother trusts your father, and your brother trusts you, or your sister trusts you. Yes. So this type of trust is called as what? You are individual person, but belonging to same forest. So everybody is trusting each other. So that type of trust is called as what? Transitive trust. Transitive trust within the same family. Or if your family is so close, even in your relative, some family, your maybe the separated my uncle or somebody. Sometimes some families will be so close, they also trust their cousins will trust the other cousins. Like where everybody is trusting each other. That is what I mean to say. Where everybody is trying to, or where everybody trust each other. That type of trust is called transitive trust. There is no nothing like circle. The meaning is what? You may have here example three domain. Like this, you may have 10 domain where each domain is trusting each other domain. Everybody is trusting each other. That is what the meaning of what transitive. So once you go to the non-trans, maybe you will get a better idea. Just wait a minute. So to say about the transitive trust is what? Where you may have multiple domain and all the domain trust each other. Then that type of trust is called transitive trust. You can use the word friends. I don't know. Some friends might be like a family. Maybe you can use that case. But if you ask me, nowadays it's very difficult to know who is your friend whom you can trust. When you are in school, your school friend might you trust. But as we grow, the commercial interest will come, then selfishness may. So that is what I feel about myself. Maybe the world is so large, everybody is not same. There might be still some friends where whom they can trust more than their family members. Like might be there, but in our I'm saying all means whichever how many do considering with when all the trust each other, then that type of trust is called transitive trust. Is it okay? So shall we go to the next trust? Oh, the trust name is what? Non-transitive means the opposite. Yes, so non-transitive. So here also we'll take three domain example for simplicity. So now here domain A is trusting B, B is trusting the C, but the C is not trusting the A. Then this is called what? Here one of the domain is not trusting the other. So then this type of trust is called what? Non-transitive. Means some domains are trusting each other, but not everyone is trusting the each other. I don't know how many of you are unmarried. I'm talking about my case, I'm a married person. So I can say here, I may be trusting my parent, my wife, but that doesn't mean that my wife will trust my parents. Same case with my parents. So that type of thing is called as what? That type of case is called as what? Non-transitive. She belongs to family, but still sometime it's a genuine thing I'm saying. Okay, So some gap is there, some communication, maybe something like that. So they don't trust each other by default. The relationship between the in-laws with their, yes, maybe same thing. So did you understood now? One of the domain, part of them are maybe the family, but still they don't trust each other. Then that type of trust is called as what? Non-transitive trust. If one of the domain is not trusting the other, means automatically it comes under non-transitive. So I hope now you understood. There is no concept like circle. The concept is what? The all domain, if it is trusting each other, then it comes under transitive. If you have multiple domain, even in multiple domain, most of them they are trusting each other. But at least if one domain doesn't trust the another domain, means it comes automatically in which category? Non-transitive category. So understood? So which type of category will be better, non-transitive or transitive? Family, non-transitive or transitive? Yes, but that is difficult. Saying is easy, but practical is difficult. Okay. So did you understood this? Transitive trust. Now we need to discuss about what after the category. What we have to discuss? Directions. So I think direction everybody knows. So how many types of directions you have? Take the example of our mobile. Initially, when the mobile was, then you can imagine only for incoming also the charges was there, and it was I heard hectic because I never used. Even for 1 minute, something like incoming, it was something about 5 rupees. I heard. I don't know how far it is true. And for outgoing, it was around 20 to 25 rupees initially when the mobile was launched in India. So at that time scenario, you can understand only incoming or only outgoing. But nowadays, it is what? Two-way. So which will be better type of direction in the trust? One way or two way? Okay, we'll discuss one by one. So in that, I don't think you will find any difficulty in understanding the what uh, so here the directions. So now in the direction, how many way you have? Example given, just I'll give you. One way means you are allowing one domain user to log in, incoming, but you are not able to log into the other domain. That is called what? Incoming. But so suppose you created a trust outgoing, means you can log into the other domain, but you are not allowing the other to log in into that. That is called outgoing trust. But generally nowadays, which type of trust you need to create? Like you tell the example between the banks or within the ATM, two-way trust. So means I can go to them, they can come to me. That is called what? Two-way. Incoming means I'm not going there, I'm just allowing it. Outgoing means I'm going there, but not allowing the others to join me. So that is called outgoing. So I hope you understood now. So categories is over, direction is over. But the most important thing which we have to discuss today is what? Which one we have to discuss? Trust type. What we have to discuss? Trust type. So how many trust types we have? Five. So we'll start with which one first? Default. We'll start with which one? Default trust. So the example for default trust is what? Multiple domain or multiple trees within your forest. The first example I took. So in this, we are not creating any trust. Automatically, the trust is creating. So that type of trust is called as what? Default between different trees of a same forest. So I can have that same example here. There are multiple domains, but any user can log in for any domain with the help of what? Default trust. We are not creating because it belong to same forest. So between the same forest, uh, between the multiple domain belonging to same forest, what trust type of trust will be there by default? Default trust that we don't have to create. It will be there by default. So that is what called default trust. The default trust will be present between different domain belonging to same forest. That is about the default trust. That won't be won't not that don't need to be created. It will be their default. That's why the name is what? Default trust. So did you understood this first type of trust? So that is called what? Default. So let us go to that now. Default trust. So default trust will have what? One-way direction or two-way direction? Two-way direction. So it will be transitive trust or non-transitive trust. It will be transitive trust. Every domain will trust each other. So that is possible where in the intra-forest, means multiple domain within the same forest. So that is the default trust. See, generally, some bigger company may allow the resources to be accessed by the others. So they may just give one option. You either use our incoming or you just use the outgoing things. But in today's situation, it might be very rare case, but it is possible. You're just allowing the others to log in, but not others. You cannot log to others. That is one type of example for incoming. Outgoing means they are logging to you, but you are not logging to them. That is what the example for outgoing. So default trust is what? Two-way transitive trust. Direction is what? Two-way, and it is comes under transitive category. So that will be there within the forest. Now the shortcut. What is mean by shortcut transitive? So this will be reduce the. I'll take the example. Then I'll explain you. Take this example. So here, any user can log into any machine. Let's suppose here, let me have this machine here. Now here, one is trying to log in. One at the rate of zoom.com. It will allow yes, but when it try to log in, first it will check in its own DC. Its information is not there. So it will send this information to whom? To its parent. Who is the parent for whom? This is the domain. Who is the parent? This. So it will send the request to parent. Now it will check in its domain first, in its DC. Where it will check in the DC? In the database file, that is ntds.dit. That user is there or not. It is not there. So it will see, I don't have this information. So before it is rejecting, it will send the request to its parent. Now in the parent also it's not there. Then who is the parent of this? That goes to this parent. Now here is also the information is not there. So now ultimately it goes to the who is the parent for everybody, that last. Not complete. Here it's seen. It is database. It is said. So what it will say? It will say yes, it is there in my database. You allow him. Then it says same thing to him. Same thing to him. Now it will allow. So for this process to run, it will take a lot of time. So if you want two domains, and they frequently need to be communicating with each other. So if you go through this normal process, it will take a lot of time for the login. So to reduce the login time, you can create one direct short link between two domains which are frequently in contact. Then it will not send the request to its parent. Directly it will send the request to it. Then the login becomes fast. So to reduce the login time, to make your network faster for domain users, we can create a shortcut between the two domains. That shortcut is called shortcut trust. A link has to be created. So that shortcut makes what now? It doesn't have to pass through this. So now automatically the time will be reduced to login. So this type of trust is called shortcut trust. Did you understood everyone this example? So let us proceed. Same thing will be written in the slide now. Yes. Now next type of trust is what we are discussing, shortcut. So if you want the way a two-way transitive trust within the forest, So it will generally go through the process of their parent to grandparent like this. So to reduce them, you can create one shortcut trust that is called shortcut trust. That is also will be there within the forest, not between two different forests. Then now the third type of trust, which is called external. So now external comes into picture when we are talking about two different forests. The first two trust comes under within the same forest, intra forest. Now this is what between two different forests. So between two different forests, we can have one type of trust that is called external. So in external, you have only one option, one-way non-transitive means one-way non-transitive trust, and it is used to connect between or from Windows NT means before 2000. Now we are using what? Not NT operating system. Now we are using the series with the year like 2000, 2003. So now this is not used. But earlier, for the NT versions, they used to create type of trust, external type of trust. And that trust used to be what? Non-transitive. But now this we are not using. So to make you understand this non-transitive, let me take an example now. Just to explain you the non-transit external disadvantage. External. First of all, it was used before 2000. Suppose I have one forest here. This is one domain, parent domain. This is the child domain. This is the parent domain. This is the child domain. This is the grandchild domain. Let us call this as a D1, D2 for simplicity. Three domains are there in one forest. This is another forest. Let assume with this example, zoom.com is the forest. This is hdfc.com. Here also three domain is there. So suppose parent, child, grandchild. Now this let's suppose this is D4, D5 total. Now whether they communicate by default, no. So now we have created external trust. So you have created which trust here between these two external. So it is external is what non-transitive and one way means first you need to give what one to one. So it is incoming or outgoing. So you configure incoming. Then outgoing also you have to configure. So this is configured, so suppose between parent to parent. Which one? HDFC and this external. Then it doesn't mean that this parent can communicate with this child or this parent can communicate with this grandchild. Same thing. This cannot communicate with this. So this is called what? Non-transitive. So if you want this parent to communicate this means again you need to create your link incoming and outgoing both. This also need to be this child want to this means again you need to create. For everyone you need to create the link manually incoming and outgoing because it was one way. Then only the communication can take place. So this is the drawback with external. So this problem has been overcome with a new feature which is introduced from 2003 onwards. That is called what? Forest transitive trust. So what is the advantage of forest transitive trust? I'll explain you. I think you understand now. This external, one way, non-transitive means how many domain you have, you need to manually create that many trust. Once you create one trust between parent to parent, it doesn't automatically create the trust between child domain. Again, you need to create it. So that is what the external trust, which was used before 2000. Now, after 2000 or from 2003, they introduced what? A trust called forest. One way. In this, only option was one way only, but now there is an option what? If you want one way also as well as two way. Both options are available. And this can be done from 2003 only, not before the 2000. Or on 2000 also we cannot. And this will create which one? Transitive. Transitive means what? Now, take the same example. Take the same example now. So suppose here my six domains are there. Same example I am repeating so that you can clearly understand the difference between external and forest. This is my zoom.com forest. Here also I have three domain. first domain is what? My parent, called parent. So I'm called referring as D1 domain. Then my next domain is what? Child domain. This is I'm calling D2. There is there grandchild called D3. Now I'm going for external trust. So here also, this is the forest of HDFC. So here also they have their own parent, their own child. Sorry, this should be this child. The grandchild. Now I'm creating here what? Instead of the external, I'm creating here forest trust. What I'm creating? Forest trust. So this is what? Both one way, two way. So I'm selecting two way. Now I selected this between parent to parent. One parent is enough. This between this. Now this is called transitive. Means if I create a link between one of the domain to this domain, automatically everybody will trust this. This will trust this. This will trust this. So everybody trust each other. Then this is called what? Transitive. Automatically. Only we need to create what? This will be automatically. Just we need to create this link. This link we have to create. Automatically it will be created. So which is a better now? Tell me. Which is a better? Forest trust or external? Forest. Because you just need to create. You may have any number of domain. Just create the trust between two forest. Sorry, two domain of two different forests. Then you may have number of forests. After you create that forest trust, all other child domain will trust each other of this forest as well as the other forest. You don't have to manually create that many link. Yes, two-way link and as it is transitive. So once this has been established, the other will trust each other. That is the difference. So now did you understood the linkage between one way, two way, transitive, non-transitive? Yes? Okay. Okay, I'll explain you once more. The same diagram I'll do. I have now two forest. Forest. One forest is with what name? Zoom.com. In this I have three domain. One is parent, the other are child. This is D2, this is grandchild, D3. What I'm saying, I'm creating a trust. Which type of trust? Forest. Between two different forests. Another forest is hdfc.com. So here also I have three domain. For simplicity, I'm taken three domain. It can be any number of domain. Now, if I create forest type of trust, forest trust, forest trust, then what happens? I need to create trust between any one of the domains. So I'll create the trust between these two parents. So now once this is created, what happens? This two-way trust. Automatically, what will happen? The other domains, these all domains will trust each other. We don't have to create manually the trust because once a trust is established with one domain, it is a transit, means other domain also trust each other from one forest to the another forest. If I am using the external, then what I need to do with each domain, I need to create a, and in that the option was only one way. So I need to create two links for each one domain, one by one, so much complex. So that's what I said. So which one is a better option now, forest trust or external trust? Understood now? Okay. So today we are going to create now which trust? Which trust we will create now? Default shortcut, external or forest will create trust. But which type? Shortcut, default, external or forest? Yes, forest. Very nice. Everybody understood what the way you are replying. But we have one more type of a trust. What is that? One more type of a trust. What is that? Anybody remember the name? Yes, very nice. ReLM. Now, in which scenario we'll use the ReLM? So this trust, whatever we have discussed, the first, second, third, fourth, they are for Windows to Windows. But it may happen in the real time. Your server might be in Windows, but the other person or the other company server might be non-Windows. So if the other person servers are working on non-Windows operating system, then we have the option in Windows to create a link with non-Windows with what? ReLM trust. So ReLM trust is also one way or two way. Non-transitive means we need to create one by one. Here default trust won't be there, but it is from Windows to non-Windows. The forest and external shortcut default all is between Windows to Windows. But sometime you may get a scenario your server might be in Windows, but other person server might be in non-Windows like Unix or Linux. Then how do you create a trust? At that time you have to use the what option? ReLM Sorry, ReLM trust. Now did you understood this five trust of trust? Default it will be there within the forest. Shortcut just to reduce the time will create a direct link. External means that was used before the 2000 between the entities. That was only one way. You need to make incoming, outgoing between domain to domain. How many domains are there? That many domain you need to create. Link, complex. Then they introduced from 2003 what? Forest. That is very nice. One way also there, two way. And it is a transitive means if you create between two forests, only one domain link, automatically all will trust each other. But if you want the trust between Windows and non-Windows, then we need to use which option? ReLM. This is about the types of trust. So now you tell me today which trust you will be creating out of this five. ReLM. We are using till now only Windows or any other OS. Our complete thing is now till now we are working only on Windows. So we'll use which one? Forest. Okay. Procedure and method is same. Just we need to check for ReLM the ReLM. Okay. So we'll concentrate today on the practical word forest. So to make you understand still whatever example is there I given, but in the same examples are there. Already we discussed this. Now this is the default trust. So in that any user can log in from any domain because this is belong to same forest. No need to create the trust. Then if you want particular domains are frequently communicating with each other. So to reduce the time we can create a direct link that is called shortcut. Then coming to the external between two forests we need to create a link, but that was used to be one way. So how many you have that many links you need to create, but the best one is what? Forest. So if you create just a link between one to one, the all child domain will automatically trust each other between the two different forests. And if you want to have a link between two different forests working on two different platform means two different operating systems, then we'll use what? DL. So this is about today's session. Okay. So do you want any slide to be copied? Want the examples? You can take it about the today's session. I think this you already taken. This is about the trust. How many categories, direction types is there? I think this also you are taken. And the types of trust. These are the five types of. I'll just come on you also. Just wait a minute. Just may take it. This. Now please tell me how many machines you require today to do the practical. I'll show you. Just a minute. Okay, let us first complete this taking the slides, then I'll ask that question. Okay, can I go to the, yes, I'm getting the answer. Yes, that is the nice. Two machines are required minimum. So can I go to the next slide, everyone? Okay. Can I go to the next slide now? So this is the example of trust type. This is about the non-transit. Okay. Next, this is the default. Yes, start out with photo. Can I go to next one? Yes, done. Shall I go to the next one? Not one external. So, so next one is what? This is very important for us. So this is what we are going to create now. Okay, this is the last. It is between Windows to non-Windows realm. Please remember, Windows to non-Windows. With this, we are done with the theory part. Now we'll discuss the practical. So for practical for today, we need how many machines? Minimum two machines. So we have to make two DCs. We have to make two DCs. Then we have to create the user from one DC, another DC. So two users by default cannot log in. So we have to give them log on local permission. Then still they cannot log in because they are two different forests. So we need to create what? The trust. Which type of trust? Forest trust. Then they will log in. This is what our today's practical is. Entire practical will be about forest. So this is about today's session. Tomorrow will be the last class of Active Directory, and this will be the final class for the management part. From tomorrow onwards, sorry, day after tomorrow, we'll concentrate on how to configure the servers. Tomorrow we'll see remaining part of the Active Directory, like what is site, what is GC, all those things. We'll complete tomorrow. Okay. So now we'll start with the practical now. So today's practical. How many machines we need? Two machines. The two machines should be working like two DCs. So how the setup will be there, I'll show you. So just to get an idea, I have written everything in the slide. Not sorry, not in the slide. In the practical step file, and see that. So today's our practical is what? How to create a trust. So you will get by reading this the idea what will be the setup. Then I'll do the setup before you. Then we'll do the practical. Creating trust between two different forests. So what you have to do, how the setup will be, I have written here. First, our already one machine is working like a DC. So that my domain name is what? In my case, zoom.com. So the IPs are very important. So generally the IP address in preferred DNS is what? Same. But you need to give today also what? Alternate DNS IP. So that alternate DNS IP should be of the other machine, the forest domain, the other forest. So in my case, system 2, IP address is what? 10. So that I should give. Same way, in the system too, I need to log in as an administrator with server OS. Machine should be workgroup status, not it should not be what? Member server. Then my machine is already, like yesterday we did the practical based on group policy. So the machine was member server. So I need to first change it into what? Workgroup. How to change it? I'll show you. Already we have done 2-3 times. Again I'll do it. Then in system 2, the machine IP address should be and preferred DNS IP should be same. That is 10.2. And here alternate DNS IP should be what? The IP address of the DC. So this is what. So you have to give this machine IP address alternate in the first, and first machine alternate IP address should be in the second. Then only you can create what? The forest trust. The date and time should be also match in both the machine condition. So this is the setup. Then after this, what you have to do? We have to use one different console today. What is that console? ADDT. Which console? ADDT. You have already a slide with, sorry, this practical step file with you. So ADDT stands for what? Active Directory Domain Trust. So using that, we'll create a trust. Creating trust is very easy, but you need to make the setup for this practical. So how to make the setup? I'll do it now so that you will get a clarity. So let me do before you the setup so that when you do the practical, you will not face any difficulty. So I need two machines. So this is my DC. This is my member server. So both I need. First, I'll go to my DC and show you the setup. And to the second machine, I'll show you the setup. Now this is my DC machine. So I need to log in only as an administrator. Now first, you see this is my DC machine. How do you check it? Go to the command prompt, type it what? Net space accounts space time. Log in. This is my another machine, client machine. So it is a server. This machine is my DC. So now this is my DC here. How do you check it? Same. When you go to here, show you what? Primary. So this is my DC machine. So here IP address is important. So go to the machine here, existing DC. Go to the network adapter, select this LAN card, then go to the IP version 4. Then here, you have to give the alternate DNS IP address of the other machine. It's very important. So now our first machine is ready. Our first machine is ready. Just disable and enable for refresh. Now first machine is ready. Now everything has to be done the setup in the second machine. So by default it is in what? This machine is in what? Member server. So first we need to change this machine into the work group. First what we have to do? Change this machine into the work group. See, it is a member server. So how do you change it? Go to the change setting. Change it into the work group. Because I need to make this machine also DC. Because two DC means two different forests. Change setting. Then go to the more. Remove here the domain name. In the background it will be there. Click on the more. Remove this domain name. Now after removing, you remove this name. First go to the more and remove from the background that name. Now here you select what? Work group. So this machine will change into work group. It will automatically restart. Here it is changed to what? Work group. You can see here also the name is changed. But it will ask for restart. So please do the restart. The first condition, it should be the other machine should be work group. But do this practical. And already you made the changes in the DC IP address wise. Now we have to give the IP address to this machine. The machine has been changed. The machine has been changed now here to the work group. Now make this machine IP address. Give this machine IP address, not make, sorry. Give this machine the IP address. How you will give the IP address? Change to this LAN card, properties, IP version 4. Now here the alternate preferred DNS IP should be this IP should be what? Then here alternate DNS IP should be what? The DC machine. Please remember this is the setup. Okay, understood. Now the IP address has been given. Now machine is not ready to be used for this practical. What you have to do? What you have to do? You have to make this machine as what? DC. You have to make this as what? DC. Is given. Yes. So now just refresh the machine. Refresh this LAN card. Is it enabled? Now it has been done. DC. It should be a forest as per our diagram. That is a zoom.com. So this should be what? HDFC.com. So I'm changing that into the forest. So how to do that? Open the server manager console. First you need to install the ADDS, which we are. So now see all done. So I'm changing this machine into what? If suppose you have removed ADDS also, you just install the ADDS. Then it will come to this. You see your first third day practical. You need to promote this machine. What the other machine should be DC. This machine should be also DC. So now promote this server DC. Now tell me what is the option you will use here out of the first, second, third. Which option you will use? Let me check how many of the answer. Which option you want? My requirement is this machine should be changed into the DC. So which option? Yes, very nice. It means you are not forgotten. So we need to select here what? The third option. Here, this name should be what? Zoom.com or HDFC.com? Should be HDFC.com. Now it should be what? Because I selected the third. This is our different forest. Next. Now here we need to select here what we have to select there. So here it should be the least value here 2003 as we have done previously. So that in the future when you take the backup you can use the lower. And here this will be the password of this forest. Now see here. Go to the next. First name will come HDFC. Next, the domain name, complete name will come hdfc.com. So for this practically is easy, but we have to make the setup. So two machines should be DC. That's what I'm doing now. So it will take some time. Just install it. Now this machine will change into what? Now this machine is changing into what? Forest. So I'll have two forest, one zoom.com, one HDFC. So already we have domain user in zoom.com. Same way we'll create domain user in hdfc.com. So now the user cannot log in. Zoom.com user cannot log in into the .com and HDFC user cannot log in into the zoom.com. So we need to create what? The trust. After creating the trust, they can log in. But you remember both are DCs. So you need to do one more practical today. What is that? Allow the local logon policy in the DC, because in DC only administrator can log in, not other user. So for that purpose you have to give allow local logon. You need to. So while this gets rebooted, you can see the steps how to create the forest. Sorry, how to create a trust between two forests. I created the forest. Now machines are two different forests. Now how you'll do this? So this I'll do it in what? System 1 DC machine. I'll allow what? Admin. I open what? ADT console. Then click on zoom.com. Then click on properties. Select what? Trust type. Click on new trust. Then give the trust IBM. Then select here what? Forest trust. We want forest trust. Then one way or two way? Two way. Next, both. So now here you have the feature. You can configure in one domain. It is two way because you don't have, if you are configuring from Zoom, you don't have to do it from the HDFC. If you are configuring in HDFC, you don't have to do it from the domain because it is a two way. Then administrator name you have to give password of the chat. So in the real time, they'll ask the administrator password of other domain. After that, the other administrator will change their password for security. Only first time they'll give. Now you can log in after creating the trust. You can log in from the DC machine. For that, you have to give him the local logon permissions here. But setup is we have to do. So let me see here my machine is ready or not now. See, this machine has been changed into the forest. You got the name. Still, we did not started today's practical. Just we are making the machine ready. So I could have done this before the session started, but you will be not knowing this. So that's why I'm doing before you, because now you are doing mostly online practical. So idea. That's why I have taken your done this setup before I start the session. So now you check the machine has been changed from the work group to what domain. Now it is which domain? HDFC. Now same way you check the IP address which we have given. So remains changed. So this is my second machine. IP address and preferred DNS should be same. See, once you make the DC, it will change it. So compulsory you change it. Now this should be what? 2. Preferred DNS should be the machine IP address. But the alternate DNS should be what? The IP address of the DC machine. First DC you have to give alternate DNS IP address of the second machine, and in second machine you have to give the alternate DNS IP of the first machine. This is the setup. Remember, this is an enabling. Now two forests are there, so you can do the practical either from the first machine or second machine. So I'll do it from the second machine. The notes have taken first machine, but nothing will happen. Now what I'll do? So shall I do it from the second machine or first machine? You can do from any machine. Only one machine is enough. Yes, alternate. So tell me, I should do the practical from first machine or second? Any machine we can use. Your convenience, you tell. Okay, I'll do it from the second machine now. Now, this is our second machine now. Open the server manager console. Create a domain user. First, create a domain user. So here, how do you create a domain user? Go to the users. Now here, password is by default 7 characters. So it is not disable here. How to disable we have done. So I'm not disabling. I'm just going with what? That password. So I created one user here. Let's suppose H1 HDFC user. Compulsory I need to give 7 characters because is default enabled. I'm giving this password. One user is created, domain user, but it cannot log into the Zoom, and Zoom user cannot log in into the HDFC. See, in HDFC, we'll create, sorry, in domain, that is our zoom.com. User again one, or sorry, Z1. How to create the user here? Same. This is from the first DC I'm creating. So here I disable what the password complexity as well as the length. So I can here have a new user with what name? Z1. So this is my Zoom user. You can understand Z1. I'm creating fresh user. Then username is what? Z1. Next. Here I'm using without password because I reduce the password length from 7 to 0 and I disable the password complexity. Okay. Now user is created. Now can this user log into here? I did not created any domain. Sorry, no trust. So it doesn't allow the user, that one user to log in into the here this machine. Which machine? The second machine, HDFC machine. Here I will log out. Now one more thing we have to give. This is DC machine, so I need to give him the local logon permission. Whom? Z1. How to give the local logon permission? Go to the GPM console. Give the local logon permission. I'm allowing Z1 to log in into the. Still, I did not create a trust. Remember. So just I'm giving the local logon permission. This is the DC. Give the permission here. Your domain. Your domain name is what? HDFC. So here you need to use not default domain. You have to use what? Domain controller. Yes. Right click, edit. The upper one, computer policies, Windows settings, then security. Here you have what? Local policies. User right assignment. Allow local logon. Which user you want to allow? Add the user. Now the domain is not created. So I'm allowing which user? H1. Sorry, I created which one? Z1. Now check the name. It is not verified because there is no trust. Now it cannot log in. So I need to create what? The trust. So let me create the trust between two different forests. So what is our practical now? Two machines are ready. Now we need to create the trust. So how to create the trust? Trust I'm creating from one machine is enough. So for this the link will be established. Two way. To create the link or trust, we need to go to another console. Which console? This console you have to use. Which one? The second console, Active Directory, Domain and Trust. Mostly we were using this. Now we are using which one? This one. Now it's very simple. You can see the notes and view. First to expand this domain. Right click. Yeah. How to create a trust now? Trust tab. Want to create a new trust. Click on what? New. Next. Type the name. Yeah. Type the name of the forest, a real name forest, which you want the name with the DNS. Now to whom you want to have a trust? This machine is what? HDFC. This machine is what? So with whom you want a trust? See here in the notes you can see. Yeah. I did same thing. I open that console, right click on my thing, then property trust type. Click on the new. Next. Trust name. So from IBM.com. The name I used like this. Now I'm using for this practical Zoom and HDFC. So I'm doing the practical from need to give the name of what? Zoom.com. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So now I'll go to this machine. I need to give with whom I want to have a link, zoom.com. Then next. So it is asking, do you want to create the external trust or forest? Which one is better? Forest. For that, minimum operating system should be 2003. Next. Now it is asking, do you want one way incoming, one way outgoing, or two way? So you select what two way. Then next. Now it is asking, you want to create the trust from this domain to this domain only, or both the domain means you are doing from HDFC. So it will be there also for zoom.com. So both these domain. So this is the administrator of zoom.com. Administrator at the rate zoom.com. Password, then only you, it will be authenticated. Now it is saying you want forest wide or selective wide? Forest wide. So forward now. Down. Next. Now it is asking you successfully it is been created two-way. Then go to the next. Now it is asking you, do you want only outgoing trusts? You want outgoing? No or yes? So what you have to say here? Yes, confirm the outgoing trust. Then it is asking incoming also you want? Yes. You have to say yes, yes. Finished. Now see whatever I have done here, you can see from the notes. I selected here what next four times, then yes, yes. Now finish. Okay. Over. Practical was simple, but the setup is Zoom.com user can log in. But for that, first you give him the local permission. Now it's okay now. Trust is created. Now I can create, allow him the local login permission. Go to the GPM console. Now SGFC domain. So domain. This is the default permission we are giving. Local login permission. Edit. Previously I tried, but it was not very. When security in that you have local logon permission. Here user right assignment. Open. Here allow local logon. Now I'm giving what? Whose name? Z1 user. Z1 at the rate. It is created where? Zoom dot. Now it should be verified. There. Now apply. Okay. Now Z1 user can log in from the administrator. Log in with a Zoom login at the rate zoom.com. Password I did not give it. Sorry. What I did mistake, I did not update. I implemented the policy, but I forgotten to update the policy. So just update, then it will allow me. This I am doing from the log out. Now login as a what? Zoom. That one at the rate .com. Didn't assign any password. Now it is log. Now you want H1 user to log in into the Zoom, you can do it. Get the icons. Which user is logged in here? Z1. Here. Now same time, if you want H1 user we have created, you want to log in into the Zoom means you can do it like this. You need to give him the local logon permission in Zoom. How to give, you know. I'll just repeat. Now I'll go to the, this is my Zoom. Go to the which console to give the permission, GPM console. Go to the domain. Yeah, domain controller. Right click, edit, policies, settings, security. Here I'm giving local policies, right assignment, login permission. Now H1 user need to log in into the Zoom. Add the user, browse, then give the name. Which user I created? H1. H1 at the rate hdfc.com. Then now in this machine, which user can log in? See, this is my zoom.com machine, this one. Now in the zoom.com, which user will log in now? See that one user. Now this is where I'll log in with which user now? H1. You can see my domain name here. So how to log in? H1 hdfc.com. So I given here for H1 some password because the password was not disabled. This is what happens because of the trust. Now go to the search, icons, settings. Now here H1 user is logged. Here which user is logged in? Inter-forest communication because of the trust. So I hope you understood today's session. So yes, both machines should be trust. So you create the trust because it is a two-way forest. So is there any doubt regarding today's session? It will be two different network, but they will have the internet connectivity. So the routers will be there through the internet. They will get connected. So if you don't create a trust by default, they may communicate, but they cannot log in and use the. That is happening because of the trust. We are taking one machine for one forest. Yes, one is enough. But in the real time, you will have lots of machines. So can I close this session for today? Okay. Thank you, everybody. Please take care of yourself. So tomorrow we'll continue what? The second sorry, fifth class of the Acted Act, last class. So once again, I'm requesting everybody, please keep yourself safe so that our country remains safe. Thank you, everybody. Because you see, one person asked you why you given local login permission means domain users. These are all both machines are DC machines. So in DC, nobody can log in, no user, unless until you give the. So this is also my DC machine. Here, you check. This is my DC machine. How to check it? Net accounts. So this is my DC machine now. Net space accounts. This is also DC. This is also my DC. So in DC, no user can log in unless until they have the local logon permission that admin has to do. Here, both are DC. This is also DC. Also DC. So I hope your doubt is clear. I'm closing the session now. Once again, I'm requesting you, everybody, please, for your sake, for your family's sake, for country's sake, please keep yourself safe. If you have another client machine, no need of local logon. For client, you don't need. Thanks, everybody. We'll continue our session tomorrow with the last class of the action. There will be global catalog, sites, and other some important things. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you, everybody. Okay, thank you, everyone. I'm closing the session.